We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight
It was Britain's darkest hour. Its cities pounded by German bombers, the threat of invasion real. Churchill, though, was defiant.
We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
The country needed bombs and bullets on an industrial scale, but there weren't enough civilian men to go into the factories. So Britain turned to its women. Over the next 4 years, almost 1 million women were called up to make munitions. But unlike the veterans of the Land Army, the Timber Corps and the Bevan Boys who worked down the mines, munitions workers have never received individual honours. So, more than 70 years after they played a significant role in the country's victory, is it time that the government officially recognised the contribution made by the munitionettes? The Royal Ordnance Factory at Rotherwas, near Hereford, was one of Britain's largest munitions plants. It employed around 2,000 workers, most of them women. Today the site's overgrown and neglected, but local historian Bill Laws believes what happened here should not be forgotten.
You couldn't have had the Army, the Air Force and the Navy working without the bombs that were being made here. Without the munitions that were produced across the country, the war could not have been won.
The National Munitions Association estimates there are around 300 surviving veterans, and I've arranged to have tea with a few who worked at Rotherwas. Hello! How nice to see you! Yeah. The women had to register for work when they turned 18. Fresh out of school, Elizabeth Cross was maiden inspector, overseeing the assembly of artillery shells. Had you had any experience before?
No idea. I don't think we had any experience. I think we were just shown what to do, and that was that.
Nancy Preece worked on the 25-pounders, which were fired by the Army's main field gun. When you were working with shells, did you ponder what they were going to do?
Oh, yes, well, we did really, conscious of it. But we knew that that had to be done.
The women may have been working on the home front, but the work was at times dangerous. For one, they were handling huge amounts of explosives. Maureen Pearn from Orpington in Kent was sent to work at a munitions factory in Swinnerton near Stoke. But during her training, she was involved in an accident when her instructor made a mistake.
She said, "You take this bottle and you put this in," telling me all about it, you see. And then the next thing I knew, I was lying on the ground outside, having been blown out through the door, I suppose.
Maureen's hearing was permanently damaged and her face required plastic surgery. Her instructor, who was just 18, was exposed to the full force of the blast.
She must have been blown up in the place, and she died.
But working with explosives posed other risks too. With just basic protective equipment, some workers fell ill from poisonous fumes. Nancy Evans handled chemicals including cordite, arsenic and TNT, which can cause toxic jaundice and turn the skin yellow. It's why some munitions workers became known as Canary Girls.
Your hair had turned blonde, your hands was all yellow, your face was yellow. In fact, when you'd go to bed, and there was white sheets on the bed, before a week those were yellow.
Nancy soon developed severe stomach problems.
They took me to the hospital and I got operated that night, and it took me 5 days before I come to, because of TNT poisoning.
Pregnant workers were particularly at risk. Lillian Summers remembers when a friend lost her baby. It was born with yellow skin.
I can remember it was 6 days old. She lost it. A tiny, pale little yellow baby. Because she worked in the fill, you see, we called it the fill.
Filling the shells?
Yes, the fill.
Air Upgrade shelters like this were built in the grounds of the factories because not only were explosives and chemicals a danger, the workers were a target of the Luftwaffe. At 6 a.m. on the 27th of July 1942, a German bomber was spotted over Hereford.
The siren went, saw the plane up there, thinking, oh, we're all right, it's one of ours, we're okay. And then there's a big whoosh. I'd realised it wasn't.
A man ran through and he said, get out, it's for real. And my friend caught hold of me and we raced down the corridors, raced down there. And then this plane came down and he came down so low you could see the swastika on it. There was 2 bombs dropped and then it was just, well, you can just imagine what it was like.
I was helping the people to get in the ambulances, and then was going round and helping picking the dead ones up. It's just terrible. I never seen anything like it.
At least 24 people were killed in the bombing. And every year, 99-year-old Nancy Evans joins Hereford's old soldiers to remember the friends she lost that day.
I thought, how nice it would have been if they were here. The ones that got killed. I lost many of them. I sent my prayers out to them.
So having done important and dangerous work, why haven't these women received official recognition? In the Commons, Theresa May cited what she called practical reasons.
I'm sure everyone in the House will want to join me in paying tribute to the thousands who worked in munitions factories. For practical reasons, it's not possible to pursue individual awards.
Missing war records could make it difficult to verify whether veterans are genuine, but some still have documents proving they were Canary Girls. And even those who don't should be recognised, according to the former MP who successfully fought for recognition for the Bevan Boys.
Whilst records will be difficult at this point in time, often statements can be corroborated by people, and that should be strong enough. If it's good enough for the Bevan Boys, and Gordon Brown did something for the Land Girls, there's no reason at all why the government of the day shouldn't quickly recognise the role that the armaments factory workers played in our victory in 1945.
Following a campaign backed by BBC Hereford and Worcester Radio, Theresa May did invite a group of former munitions workers to Number 10, but official recognition wasn't discussed.
It was an interesting time for the ladies. They got to meet Theresa May and they had a cup of tea and a piece of cake, but no, that's not formal recognition at all. I think they deserve some sort of medal or a formally recognised badge that they can wear with pride and that their family members can cling on to as well. They were quite happy to honour the men that fired the bullets and dropped the bombs, and yet here we are with these women who made them and without whom we couldn't have won those wars.
In a statement, the government told this programme,
"Government recognises the hard work of munitions workers who played a significant role in both world wars. We would welcome proposals to publicly recognise their contributions to the war effort and are willing to work with any group that brings forward proposals for collective recognition."
Do you think you should be in some way officially recognised for what you did?
Yes, please. I would. I would very much.
Well, I think it's important because I think we should be treated the same as everybody else.
I'd like that. I think all these ladies would like it. Yes.
It's a difficult fact that each year fewer and fewer of these remarkable women survive to tell their stories. So, if the government is to act, it must do so quickly.